episode of the Alumni Interview Series at the Muldoon Center, where we interview alumni of the entrepreneurship program here at John Carroll. Our interviewee today is Anna Masica, an alumnus of the class of 2019. Anna, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course, Andy. Glad to be here.
Can you give the viewers a bit of information about yourself, maybe like where you're from, how you wound up at John Carroll, and what you're up to now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am from Northeast Ohio. I'm from Wadsworth, Ohio. I stumbled upon John Carroll pretty early on in my life. I had a teacher growing up that was a Carroll alum, and I always told myself one day I'm going to end up being a blue streak. I was in high school, and I realized that not only did my passive wanting to go to John Carroll fit well in this, I knew I wanted to go into business, and I knew I wanted to go into marketing, and I knew they had a great program for that. And I was very lucky that I actually watched my sister go through John Carroll and the experiences she had. And I was able to kind of create my own experiences there as well, getting involved in the Root Based Scholars Program. So the kind of trifecta of all of that, with the blessing of being in Cleveland, which is just my favorite city, I was able to kind of put all that together and decided to end up at John Carroll. I'm stubborn, so I knew since I was in high school that I wanted to go into marketing. I never shifted my major from that. I just added on a few fun additions in peace, justice, and human rights, and entrepreneurship, both as minors. And those three things together, again, another wonderful trifecta, led me to a crossroads my senior year of college that I was able to have a lot of really interesting experiences throughout my Carroll career, and I didn't know what I wanted to do from there. I had a lot of friends doing year of service programs, and that interested me, but it wasn't entirely what I wanted to do with my life, and I didn't know if that would put me in the right path for that. I somehow, some way, I think through a friend of a friend of a friend's social media bio, quite truly, stumbled upon a program called Venture for America. It's a 2-year fellowship program that places recent college graduates in emerging startup ecosystems around the country in cities that are not the coast. So, not what you think of when you think of the big startup cities, more like the Clevelands, Columbuses, Detroits, Birminghams, all across the country. So, I was graciously accepted into that program. And I, from there, joined a tech startup in Cleveland called Wiser. So, an ed tech startup where I bounced around from a few roles before landing in a customer success position. So, pretty much what that means is I um, have worked with all of our customers. I help them to implement our program and our technology on their campuses. I work with colleges, and I help them to make sure that we are successful with them and that we are able to help them hit goals they have. Luckily, I've been able to see a lot within that. We were acquired back in March by a company called EAB, the Education Advisory Board out of Washington, D.C. So I have stuck with that. I have stuck with the Wiser team there, which has led me to now being a senior partner success manager in the EAB side of the world. So a little long winded there, but that is kind of point A to point C, I think.
Yeah, thank you for that rundown. That gives everybody a lot of information about where you've been, where you were, and where you are now, and what you're up to. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Of
Um,
course.
let's let's hop back to John Carroll's side of things.
Yeah.
What really enticed you to go into the entrepreneurship minor during
Yeah.
undergrad?
Absolutely. So, like I mentioned, my sister went to John Carroll, where she had a wonderful experience and met who is now my brother-in-law. And so, when I was looking at John Carroll, when I decided that that's where I wanted to go, he had mentioned that he was an entrepreneurship minor and kind of brought it to my attention. He wasn't. I don't know if he ever fully minored in it. I think he might have just dabbled in a few classes. But he had always told me, there are some incredible people on campus. He named Tom Bonda, of course, as one of those individuals who will really help you to learn in a new way. And so something I looked into from the start, and I was able to jump into a 1 credit course my first semester of school. That was a brief, I forget what the class was called, but it was like a brief intro to entrepreneurship. And I realized, this is something I definitely want to continue doing. So kind of got the idea, like I said, from him, but I realized how much the minor could impact the rest of my studies and give me a space to think a little bit more creatively than maybe I was in my, typical business classes that I took day in and day out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all very good stuff. So I want to like tie
Mhm.
that to what you're up to now. How do you think the entrepreneurship minor um, has best served you in your role at EAB or Wiser?
Yeah. Well, I think first off, it gave me the opportunity to think through what I wanted to do, critically think through what I wanted to do post grad a bit more than I thought from the start. And it gave me an opportunity to find something that, or I guess gave me the push, I should say, to find something that was a little bit off the beaten path for, what to do post grad. I very specifically, I remember um, my one of my first months at Wiser, we were, joining a new company as a newbie, the youngest one on the team, definitely is an intimidating experience. And I remember we were trying to pivot what our product was, and we were really looking through what our value prop was and what we wanted that to be. And if you have taken the entrepreneurship courses at John Carroll, I bet you are very well equipped with the value proposition workbook that I think we use in almost every one of those courses. And we were going to use that to run the strategy session to completely decide how we want to change or run the company. I didn't have much experience on what the product was at the time because I was so new, but I had experience in that. So I was able to actually run the entire session for our entire board of directors as well as my team, which was a really cool way for me to set myself up as a leader very quickly on in my career, and in my team. But also, we got a lot of great opportunities out of that, which is, I feel like you can't always say like this tangible thing I did in class, I actually was able to use in life. And I have that experience. I have that story, which is really great. So definitely exciting for me.
Yeah, that's just a great application of what you learned in the classroom into your career. I'm glad you're able to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it
Also,
was crazy.
one more question for you here. Um, if you had to make a pitch to a JCU student for why they should partake in the entrepreneurship minor, what would that be?
Yeah, I think the question I always ask is why not? I think one of the best things about the entrepreneurship minor is it's a really great opportunity to learn new things, but it's also just a fun new thing to try. When else in your life are you going to have an opportunity to say, I minored in entrepreneurship or I took this class on creative thinking? And I think all of that said, it was one of the most pivotal pieces of setting me up for what I wanted to do after graduation because it really gave me a space to think about who I was outside of the classes I was taking. And I don't know if that's what the minor is specifically there for, but I think it gives a lot of students an opportunity to see who they are outside of their major and who they are outside of the every other day courses they're taking. So I think my biggest pitch to that is, not only can you find so many unique opportunities through the minor. I think most importantly, you can find out a lot more about who you are as a person, and hopefully, it can help you figure out what your next steps are from leaving campus. And I think that's one of my favorite things about the minor as a whole.
What a great note to finish on. Anna, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your insights with us.
Absolutely, of course. Again, glad to be here and help out.